A slow, steady close-up of an engine bay that has not been cleaned in years. Every surface is coated in layers of dark grease, dried oil, dust, and road grime. The camera holds on this image long enough for the viewer to take it all in. Take a moment and look at this engine bay. This is not a junkyard vehicle. This is not an abandoned car sitting in a field somewhere. This is a regular everyday car that someone drives to work, to the grocery store, and back home again. And yet, under the hood, it looks like a disaster. Years of oil splatter, road dust, leaked fluids, and baked-on grime have turned it into something most people would rather not touch at all. Well, and that is exactly the problem. Most car owners open their hood, see something like this, and immediately close it again. They assume it requires professional help. They assume it requires expensive chemicals and specialized equipment. They assume that if they try to clean it themselves, they will damage something, disconnect something, or cause a problem that costs even more money to fix. That assumption is worth a great deal of money to the automotive service industry. If you take your vehicle to a dealership today and ask them to clean your engine bay, they will offer you a service that goes by different names. Some call it an engine bay degreasing. Others call it an engine detail or an underhood cleaning package. The name changes depending on where you go, but the price stays remarkably consistent. You will pay somewhere between $300 and $500. At many dealerships, the standard charge sits right around $400. $400 for a service that takes one technician approximately 15 minutes to complete. Let that settle in your mind for a moment. Now here's the part that changes everything. The primary product used to perform the service, the actual cleaning agent that does the heavy lifting, costs less than $2. It is not a rare industrial chemical. It is not a professional grade formula locked behind a supply chain that only certified shops can access. It is a simple, common household product that millions of people already own. There is a very strong chance that a bottle of it is sitting under your kitchen sink right now, and you have never once thought to use it on your car. This raises an obvious question. If the solution is this cheap and this accessible, why does almost nobody know about it? The answer is not complicated, but it is important to understand. The automotive service industry, like any business, operates on revenue. Every line item on your service invoice represents money, and certain line items are more profitable than others. Engine bay cleaning is one of the most profitable services a dealership can offer because the cost of materials is almost nothing, the labor time is minimal, and the customer's lack of knowledge is nearly universal. And that last part is the key. The entire profit margin of this service depends on you not knowing how simple it is. The moment you learn the method, the moment you realize that no special skill is involved, you stop booking that appointment, you stop paying that invoice, and $400 stays in your pocket instead of theirs. This is not about disrespecting the trade. There are many automotive services that genuinely require trained professionals. Transmission work, engine rebuilds, electrical diagnostics, these are complex jobs that demand real knowledge and real experience. No one is suggesting you should attempt those in your driveway. But engine bay cleaning is not one of those jobs. It never was. It was placed in the same category as those jobs because that classification is profitable, not because it is accurate. But the knowledge I am about to share with you was never suppressed because it was dangerous. There is no safety risk in cleaning your engine bay when it is done correctly. No one has ever been harmed by removing grease from a valve cover. This information simply never gained widespread attention because there was no financial incentive for anyone in the industry to spread it. A customer who knows this trick is a customer who never comes back for this service, and a service that generates $400 per visit, multiplied across thousands of customers per year, across thousands of dealerships across the country, adds up to a staggering amount of money. That is revenue the industry is not eager to lose. So here is what I am going to do. Over the next few minutes, I will walk you through the exact product, the exact method, and the exact steps required to take an engine bay from the condition you see on screen right now to a result that looks like it just rolled off a showroom floor. No professional tools, no expensive products, no prior experience needed. Stay with me. This is going to change how you think about car maintenance permanently. Let us begin. The buried history and scientific breakthrough. Black and white archival footage fades in. Old laboratories, glass bottles, early industrial factories with tall chimneys releasing white steam into gray skies. To understand why a $2 kitchen product can outperform a $400 dealership service, we need to go back in time. Not by a few years. By more than a century and a half. Because the science behind what I am about to show you is not new. It is not a modern discovery. It is not something that appeared on the market last year with clever branding and a social media campaign. It has existed since 1861, and the man responsible for making it available to the entire world was a Belgian chemist named Ernest Solvay. In 1861, Solvay developed what became known as the Solvay process. This was an industrial method for mass-producing sodium bicarbonate, the compound most people know today as ordinary baking soda. Before Solvay's breakthrough, sodium bicarbonate existed but was expensive and difficult to manufacture in large quantities. His process changed everything. It made production fast, efficient, and remarkably cheap. Within a few decades, sodium bicarbonate became one of the most affordable chemical compounds on the planet. It could be found in virtually every household, every bakery, every medical supply store, and every cleaning cabinet in the industrialized world. What makes sodium bicarbonate extraordinary is not just its low cost, it is the chemistry itself. Sodium bicarbonate is a mild alkaline compound. When it is mixed with water, it creates a solution that is highly effective at breaking down grease, oil, and organic residue. It does this without producing toxic fumes, without damaging metal surfaces, and without leaving behind chemical residue that requires additional cleaning. It is, by any reasonable scientific measure, one of the most effective and safest degreasing agents ever discovered. And it costs almost nothing. Now let us move forward to 1908. This is the year Henry Ford introduced the Model T, the vehicle that transformed the automobile from a luxury item into a tool that ordinary families could afford. The Model T changed American life in ways that are difficult to overstate. Suddenly, millions of people owned machines that required regular maintenance and cleaning. But here is what most people today do not realize. In 1908, there were no automotive detailing shops, there were no branded engine cleaners on store shelves, there were no service packages offering engine bay degreasing for hundreds of dollars. None of that existed. So what did early car owners use to keep their vehicles clean? They used exactly what they had available: baking soda, white vinegar, simple soap, water. These were the original automotive cleaning products, and they worked remarkably well. Model T owners would mix baking soda into a paste or a solution, apply it to greasy engine parts, scrub with a stiff brush, and rinse with water. The results were excellent. The engine stayed clean, the parts were not damaged, and the total cost was virtually zero. This was not folk wisdom passed down without evidence. It was practical knowledge supported by real institutions. In 1912, Cornell University published a household manual that included detailed instructions for maintaining mechanical equipment and upholstery using common pantry ingredients. The manual devoted a full page to cleaning methods that relied on sodium bicarbonate and mild acid solutions like diluted vinegar. The instructions were clear, simple, and effective. A homeowner or vehicle owner could follow them with no prior training and achieve professional level results. This was mainstream knowledge. It was taught at one of the most respected universities in the United States. It was printed and distributed for public use. So the obvious question becomes this: if this knowledge was freely available in 1912, why does almost no one use it today? The answer lies in what happened in the 1950s. After the Second World War, the American economy entered a period of rapid commercial expansion. New businesses appeared in every sector, and the automotive care industry was no exception. The 1950s saw the rise of dedicated car wash franchises and professional detailing services. These were businesses that needed to justify their prices, and they could not do that if customers believed a box of baking soda could accomplish the same result. This is when the shift began. New chemical brands entered the market with products specifically designed for automotive cleaning. These products were packaged in professional-looking bottles with technical-sounding names. They were marketed as advanced formulas that ordinary household products could not match. The messaging was clear and consistent. Cleaning your car properly required specialized chemicals. Anything less was risky, ineffective, or potentially damaging to your vehicle. Well, over time, this messaging worked. Within a single generation, the common knowledge that families had relied on for decades quietly disappeared. People forgot that baking soda could degrease an engine. They forgot that vinegar could cut through grime on chrome and metal. They forgot because an entire industry spent considerable effort making sure they would forget. But the chemistry never changed. Sodium bicarbonate works exactly the same way today as it did in 1861. The only thing that changed was what people were told to believe. The chemistry of infiltration. Extreme close-up footage of a greasy metal surface. The camera pushes in until the texture of the grime becomes visible in detail. Slowly, a clear liquid is poured across the surface and the grease begins to loosen and separate. Now that we understand the history, it is time to understand the science. Because the reason this $2 solution works is not a matter of opinion. It is not a trick. It is not a shortcut that produces inferior results. It is chemistry. And once you understand the chemistry, you will never look at a bottle of professional engine cleaner the same way again. Let us start with the most important word in this entire discussion: surfactant. If you pick up any bottle of commercial automotive degreaser, any professional grade engine cleaner, any product that costs $15, $20, or $30 per bottle, and you read the ingredient list carefully, you will find that the primary active compound is a surfactant. That is the ingredient doing the actual work. Everything else in the bottle, the fragrance, the color, the foaming agents, the branding, exists to justify the price. The surfactant is the only thing that matters. A surfactant is not a complex or mysterious substance. It is a basic chemical workhorse that scientists have understood thoroughly since the 19th century. The way it works is straightforward. Every molecule of a surfactant has two ends. One end is attracted to water, the other end is attracted to oil and grease. When a surfactant comes into contact with a greasy surface, it positions itself between the grease and the metal beneath it. The oil-loving end attaches to the grease. The water-loving end attaches to the water in the solution. This breaks the bond between the dirt and the surface, allowing the grease to be lifted away and rinsed off. That is it. That is the entire mechanism behind every engine degreaser on the market. There is no secret formula. There is no proprietary technology. There is a surfactant doing exactly what surfactants have always done. Now here is where the household solution becomes genuinely impressive. When you combine white vinegar, which is a mild acid, with sodium bicarbonate, which is a mild alkaline compound, and dilute the mixture with water, you create a solution that contains naturally occurring surfactant properties. The reaction between the acid and the base produces carbon dioxide gas, which is the fizzing you see when the two ingredients are combined. That gas does something remarkable. It creates thousands of tiny bubbles that physically agitate the grease on the surface, loosening it mechanically, while the chemical properties of the solution dissolve it simultaneously. But the real advantage is something called capillary action. This is a principle of physics that governs how liquids move through narrow spaces. When you apply a thinned solution of vinegar and baking soda to a greasy engine surface, the liquid does not simply sit on top of the grime. It seeps into it. Grease that has been baked onto metal for years develops microscopic cracks and fractures in its surface. The solution, because of its low surface tension, is drawn into these tiny openings by capillary action. It penetrates the grease from the inside out, dissolving the bonds at the deepest level first and working its way back to the surface. And this is not speculation. This is documented, peer-reviewed science. Research conducted at institutions including the University of Nebraska has demonstrated that household alkaline solutions perform at levels that match or exceed the cleaning power of commercial automotive degreasers in controlled laboratory tests. Studies examining the effectiveness of sodium bicarbonate solutions on petroleum-based residues have consistently shown that the cleaning performance is comparable to products costing 20 to 30 times more. The difference in price does not reflect a difference in chemistry. It reflects a difference in packaging and marketing. Similar research from engineering departments at major universities has confirmed that mild acid and base combinations are not only effective at removing automotive grease, but are also significantly less corrosive to metal surfaces than many commercial alternatives. Some professional-grade degreasers contain harsh solvents that can damage rubber seals, degrade plastic components, and strip protective coatings from aluminium parts. The household solution does none of this. It cleans the grease without attacking the materials underneath. And this brings us to perhaps the most important myth that needs to be addressed directly. The phrase professional grade. You see it on labels everywhere. Professional grade degreaser, professional strength formula, industrial grade cleaning power. These phrases sound impressive. They sound like they describe something that a normal person should not attempt to handle without training. That is entirely intentional. The term professional grade is not a regulated classification. It is not a scientific designation. It is not a safety rating. It is a marketing phrase designed to create psychological distance between you and the product. It exists to make you believe that the chemistry involved is too advanced, too powerful, or too dangerous for an ordinary person to use safely at home. It is not. The chemistry is simple. The ingredients are common. The process is safe, and the results, as you are about to see, speak for themselves. The revenue model and designed failure. Aerial footage of a massive automotive detailing complex, rows of vehicles lined up under fluorescent lighting, technicians in branded uniforms moving between cars with spray bottles and microfiber cloths. The operation looks impressive, efficient, and expensive. Now that you understand the science, it is time to follow the money. Because the reason this knowledge has stayed buried for so long has nothing to do with chemistry. It has everything to do with revenue. And the numbers behind this industry are far more disturbing than most people realize. According to market analysis published by IBISWorld in 2023, the automotive detailing industry in the United States alone generates approximately $15 billion in annual revenue. $15 billion. That is not a small niche business operating on the margins of the economy. That is a massive commercial enterprise with lobbying power, marketing budgets, and institutional influence. And when you examine where that money actually comes from, the picture becomes deeply uncomfortable. The foundation of this industry is markup, not innovation, not superior chemistry, not proprietary technology that took decades to develop. Markup. The raw chemical ingredients used in the vast majority of commercial automotive cleaning products cost almost nothing to produce. Industry insiders and chemical supply chain analysts have repeatedly confirmed that the active compounds in a standard bottle of engine degreaser, the ingredients that actually perform the cleaning function, cost approximately 3 cents to manufacture. 3 cents? That same bottle is then packaged, branded, and placed on a retail shelf with a price tag between $14 and $25. Take a moment to consider what that means in practical terms. You are paying $14 to $25 for 3 cents worth of cleaning chemistry combined with $12 worth of marketing, packaging, and brand positioning. The markup on these products routinely exceeds 1,000%, and that is just the retail side. When these same products are used in a dealership service bay and the labor charge is added on top, the total cost to the consumer climbs into the hundreds of dollars for a job that requires less than $2 worth of actual material. But the pricing model is only half of the story. The other half is far more calculated, and it involves a concept that consumer advocates have described as designed failure. This is the practice of engineering a product or service so that it produces an impressive short-term result while quietly guaranteeing that the customer will need to return for the same service again in the near future. Here is how it works in the detailing industry. Many professional engine bay degreasers and finishing products contain silicone-based protectants. When these products are applied to a cleaned engine surface, they produce an immediate, visible shine. The engine bay looks wet, glossy, and brand new. The customer is impressed. The before and after photographs look spectacular. The service feels worth every dollar. But silicone-based protectants have a well-documented characteristic that the industry does not advertise. Silicone creates a surface that is electrostatically charged in a way that attracts airborne particulate matter at a significantly accelerated rate. Independent testing has shown that surfaces treated with silicone-based products accumulate dust and light debris approximately 65% faster than untreated surfaces or surfaces cleaned with non-silicone solutions. In simple terms, the product that makes your engine bay look perfect today is actively pulling dirt back onto it faster than normal. Within a few weeks, the engine bay that you just paid hundreds of dollars to clean looks dirty again. And when it does, the most natural response is to book another appointment. This is not an accident. This is a business model. The product is not failing. It is performing exactly as intended. It delivers a short-term visual result that satisfies the customer at the point of sale while creating the conditions for a repeat purchase in the shortest possible time frame. The customer believes their engine bay simply gets dirty quickly. They never suspect that the product itself is accelerating the process. A household solution of baking soda and vinegar does not contain silicone. It does not leave behind a residue that attracts dust. It cleans the surface and leaves it in a neutral state. The engine bay stays cleaner for longer because nothing in the solution is working against the customer after the job is finished. And then there is the final layer of this system, the language. The automotive detailing industry has adopted what can only be described as certification language to describe tasks that are fundamentally simple. Engine bay degreasing is described using terminology borrowed from technical and medical fields. Words like precision application, calibrated dilution ratios, surface safe formulation protocols, and contamination extraction procedures appear in service descriptions and training materials. This language serves a single purpose. It creates the impression that the work being performed requires a level of education, training, and precision that an ordinary person could not possibly replicate at home. In reality, the procedure involves spraying a surface with a cleaning solution, allowing it to sit for several minutes, and rinsing it with water. That is the entire process. It does not require certification. It does not require calibrated instruments. It does not require years of professional training. It requires a bottle, a brush, and a garden hose. The certification language exists not to describe the complexity of the task, but to protect the price tag attached to it. If the service were described in plain, honest terms, no reasonable person would agree to pay $400 for it. The language is the barrier. Remove the language, and the entire pricing structure collapses. This is the architecture of a $15 billion industry. Cheap chemicals sold at enormous markups. Products designed to fail on a predictable schedule, and a vocabulary carefully constructed to make the simple appear impossible. Now that you see the full picture, let us dismantle it. The $2 protocol and the forbidden vault. A clean workbench. 3 items are placed in a neat row under bright, even lighting. A measuring cup of warm water, a bottle of white vinegar, a small box of baking soda. The camera holds on these 3 items in silence for a full 3 seconds before the narrator speaks. This is everything you need, not a garage full of equipment, not a cabinet full of branded chemicals. 3 ingredients that you can purchase at any grocery store in the country for a combined total of less than $2. What you're looking at right now is the complete engine bay degreasing kit that the automotive service industry has spent decades hoping you would never discover. Let us walk through the exact protocol, step by step, no shortcuts, no guesswork. Just a clear, repeatable process that will take your engine bay from the condition you saw at the beginning of this video to a result that looks like it rolled off the factory floor this morning. First, the recipe. You will need 1 cup of warm water. Not hot, not boiling, warm. Approximately the temperature of a comfortable bath water. Pour this into a standard spray bottle. Next, add 2 tablespoons of ordinary white vinegar. The concentration you find at any grocery store, typically 5% acidity, is exactly what you need. Do not use specialty vinegar. Do not use apple cider vinegar. Plain white vinegar is the correct choice. Now the final ingredient. Add 1 tablespoon of baking soda to the solution. This is the step that requires a small amount of patience. Add the baking soda slowly. Do not pour it in all at once. When baking soda meets vinegar, it produces an immediate fizzing reaction as carbon dioxide gas is released. This reaction is completely normal and completely harmless, but if you add the full tablespoon at once, the solution will foam up rapidly and overflow from the spray bottle. Add it gradually, a small amount at a time, and allow the fizzing to settle between additions. Once all the baking soda has been incorporated and the fizzing has calmed, secure the spray nozzle onto the bottle. Your solution is ready. Now, the application. Before you begin, there is one important condition. The engine must be cold. Do not attempt this process on a vehicle that has been driven recently. If the engine has been running, wait at least 1 hour for all surfaces to cool completely. Applying any liquid, whether household or commercial, to a hot engine can cause thermal shock to certain components and can produce steam that poses a burn risk. A cold engine is a safe engine. This is not optional. Step 1. Open the hood and remove any loose debris by hand. Leaves, twigs, and large pieces of dirt sitting on top of the engine bay should be cleared away before you begin spraying. This takes less than a minute and ensures that the solution makes direct contact with the greasy surfaces rather than being absorbed by loose material sitting on top. Step 2. Spray the solution generously across the entire engine bay. Cover every visible surface. The valve cover, the intake manifold, the battery housing, the fuse box cover, the inner fender walls, the hinges, the brackets, and every square inch of metal and plastic that shows signs of grease or grime. Do not be conservative with the solution. It is inexpensive enough that you can make a second batch in minutes if needed. Thorough coverage is essential for a complete result. Step 3. Wait. This is the most important step in the entire process, and it is the step that most people will be tempted to rush. Do not rush it. Allow the solution to sit undisturbed on the engine bay surfaces for a minimum of 15 minutes. For heavily soiled engines with years of baked-on grease, extend this waiting period to 30 minutes. During this time, the chemical reaction between the alkaline sodium bicarbonate and the mild acetic acid in the vinegar is actively working beneath the surface of the grime. The solution is seeping into the microscopic fractures in the grease through capillary action, dissolving the bonds between the oil and the metal from the inside out. This is where the real cleaning happens. Patience during this step is the difference between a good result and a perfect one. Step 4. After the waiting period, take a light bristle brush, an old toothbrush, or a soft detailing brush, and gently agitate any areas where heavy deposits remain visible. You will notice that the grease has already softened dramatically. The brush is simply helping to lift away the loosened residue. Heavy scrubbing is not necessary. Step 5. Rinse the entire engine bay with a standard garden hose. Use a gentle, steady stream of water. Do not use a high-pressure washer. A normal garden hose provides more than enough force to carry away the dissolved grease and remaining solution. Work from the back of the engine bay toward the front, allowing the dirty water to flow forward and drip away from the vehicle. Visual. The camera pulls back to reveal the completed engine bay. Every surface is clean, the metal is visible, the plastic components look new. The difference from the opening shot is dramatic and undeniable. The transformation fills the screen. This is the result. This engine bay has not been touched by a professional. It has not been treated with a single commercial product. It was cleaned with warm water, white vinegar, and baking soda in approximately 12 minutes of active work. The total material cost was under $2. Now you have a choice. You can keep this knowledge to yourself, or you can share this video with every car owner you know who deserves to stop handing over their money for a service they can perform better at home. Every person who watches this is a person who stops bleeding money unnecessarily. Subscribe to this channel. This is not the last vault we are opening. This is only the beginning. In the description below this video, you will find a link to the complete Forbidden Vault. Inside, you will find full written guides for rust elimination using household chemistry, headlight restoration without expensive kits, interior stain removal using pantry ingredients, and a complete seasonal maintenance calendar that replaces thousands of dollars in annual service appointments with simple, proven home methods. The industry kept this knowledge locked away because it was profitable to do so. That lock is now broken. Share this video, access the vault, and never overpay for simple work again. Visual. The screen fades to black. A single line of white text appears. On screen, the vault is open.